Okay, a bit more on how. Stephen Covey, again in that 7 Habits, talks about an emotional bank account. We all have one emotional bank account with each person we know. We can be in credit, we can be overdrawn, and it's all about our actions that has created this emotional bank balance. So I'm going to get you to realize that going forward, we can do something with our actions on this bank balance from now on. So just quietly in your own heads, think of someone that you're in credit with, someone who would do you a favor automatically because you've been there for them. You've been helpful. They just like you maybe. And then think about someone that you're overdrawn with. I'm doing this quite quickly, but you know, you'll have the slides, you can do this afterwards. Think of someone that you've let down in some way, and then think, well, if I really needed them to like be there for me, now I've let them down. Have I let them down so much that they might not be there? Oh, by the way, if you've turned off your camera, you can turn it back on now. I'm not going to pick on anyone else now. But think about someone who is in credit with you, and also think about someone who's overdrawn with you. So, and the essence of this is thinking now of the people that you want to influence, what would be a deposit for them? So this isn't about bribery particularly, although procurement has been specially set up to prevent people being influenced in a way where they were given, I don't know, tickets to the women's international rugby or ticket to a concert. You know, that's all set up to prevent that now because we're really clear about these laws of influence that I'm going to go on to in a second. But just think about who you would want to influence and what a deposit could be. And a deposit is keeping a promise, listening to someone, actually apologizing properly, not a politician's apology of, oh, I regret this happened. You did it. Say you did it. Say you're sorry. And if we can think through that, you know, there's so many possible deposits. You can look online. There's loads of stuff about this online. But if you want to influence people, this is one of the ways you can do it. And it leads me as a brilliant segue into my final session here, which is the 6 laws of influence. Okay, so this is the work of a guy called Robert Cialdini, and you can see on the slide always I reference. So we use these shortcuts to make decisions, but worse than that, marketeers, so charities, salespeople, all of those people who want our money, they use these tools of persuasion to tap into how our brains are hardwired. So there's a real issue here, but we can use them too to influence other people, and that's why I'm talking about them. But influence is win-win, okay? So the 6 things I'm going to show you now are skills of manipulation. They are horrible skills. They are used, as I say, by these marketeers to influence us, to make us buy things we might not even want, to get us to part with our money. I'm hoping that everyone on this call is a win-win person. So I don't want to be training you to sell rubbish double glazing to an old couple who cannot afford it on a payment plan that is going to make them lose their house. I don't want you using any of those really cod sales tactics where you say, yes, you can buy it for this price, but today it's a half price. You can have your IOSH super duper whatever at half price, but only if you sign up now. So we want it to be always win-win. So love in your hearts whenever we do these things. And here are the 6 laws of influence I'm going to take through. So reciprocation. If someone does us a favor, we're wired to reciprocate. And that is the essence of how humanity has succeeded, really, because we can't do very much on our own. So we need to influence other people. So if you persuade someone in your local tribe to help you hunt a woolly mammoth so that they can eat for years, then probably they'll give you some of that woolly mammoth. You know, if someone buys you a cup of coffee, probably at some point, you will buy them one back. Or if they make you a tea in the tea room at work, at some point when you stand up to get yourself a tea, you'll probably ask them if they want one. The law of reciprocation is very hardwired, even to the point when someone invites you to a party and you don't want to go, but you go because you feel you have to. When you have a party, oh no, I've got to invite them back. Liking, I talked about liking, but we know this, people buy people, and we do business with people we like. In my town, when my kids were young, there was an Italian restaurant. The food, 6 out of 10. The welcome, the fact that they would let my daughters go behind the bar and pour a pint for me, all of that stuff, brilliant. We went back so many times. Why would you go to a restaurant where the food is only that much out of 10? Because we liked the people. Social proof, strange phrase here, but I'm going to use it in this way. There's a TV show, you'll know it probably, 8 out of 10 cats, and 8 out of 10 cats does countdown. Probably some of you will know this comes from a Whiskers advert from the 1980s, where 8 out of 10 people said their cats preferred Whiskers. I'm not going to unpick how those people knew that their cats had said that they preferred Whiskers. I'm just going to say it's a perfect example of you're sitting in a supermarket, you're looking after next door's cat, run out of food, you don't know what to buy. I know 8 out of 10 people say their cats prefer Whiskers. I'll be safe with that. And social proof, we do all the time. So the script that I wrote for Bernard, this is a lie, obviously, but it doesn't matter, to introduce me by, it was full of, Ian has worked with, oh gosh, the GLA in London, Transport for London, Infarma, all those things. The idea of that, when we put that in our LinkedIn, is people think, hang on a minute, wow, if Ian's just been procured to be an executive coach for the Houses of Parliament refurbishment projects by their massive refurbishment and procurement machine, he must be in some way credible. That's the law of influence. Whether it's true or not, only you can judge. But we shortcut. Consistency. Once we've taken a position, I desperately on calls like this try and get people to chat really early. The earlier I get people to chat, the more likely they'll chat again and again and again. If you get people to take a tiny step down the path you want them to go, whatever you want to influence them in, this is the law of consistency that works. Because the move of 0 to 1, making that step, is the increase of infinity. That's such a big step. Getting someone to take one step, if you can just make them take that step though, and make it smaller for them, because from 1 to 2 is only 100%, and from 9 to 10 is only 11%. So you can see how much easier it is to get people to work down the path. And there's been lots of psychological experiments about this. When they did the electric shock experiment all those years ago, getting people to start slowly with low bursts, and they just found that they were able to drive them to go higher and higher. Authority also kicked in on those experiments as well, because the person was wearing a lab coat, so they looked like they were authoritative. Boots the chemist, when they're selling perfumes, they wear white coats, so we're somehow thinking they're experts. But authority is either a uniform way or in a knowledgeable way. You guys are all very knowledgeable in the worlds of health and safety, and so this would be an influencer for you. The last one, the one I talked about a little bit earlier with the, you can have your kitchen at half price today, is such a powerful thing that governments all around the world have put in 21-day cooling off periods by law. We just want stuff when it's only going to be available for a short time. I have never wanted tickets to a concert or a play or a show more than when they're sold out. And if you're really clever, my favorite restaurant in New York is one just over the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's called Giuliana's, and it's a pizza place. And the pizza's all right, but he manages the operation so brilliantly. There is always a queue outside. There might be 10 empty tables inside, but he just runs it slowly. So there's always a queue, and anyone walking past is thinking, do you know what? Social proof. All those people want to go in that place. And oh my God, I'm going to have to queue to get in there. It's scarcity. So these things just hardwire us. So which of these, I'm going to be asking you, which of these could you use?